In today's video, Democrats are launching an investigation into the White House for insider trading. And the media is claiming that President Trump caved by announcing the tariff pause. And a liberal teacher gets violent when she kicks out a student for wearing a MAGA hat.
Donald Trump is now in retreat because Democrats in the Senate and the House and the American people have said, stop playing games with these tariffs. You think it's a game. You think it's like red light, green light. It's not, it's chaos. And the damage you have done already, despite today's announcement, is permanent and real and deep. You're throwing our whole economy out of kilter. You're telling business people and consumers to not spend because they don't know what the heck is coming out next. What you're doing, Donald Trump, is hurting the American people as you play games.
Yeah, so that is a great example, and you're going to see it throughout this video, of how Democrats had a poor reaction to that announcement from President Trump earlier today. I mean, they're just scrambling. They don't even know how to react and what is the best thing to say. I'm going to show you how crazy they're getting because now they want to launch an investigation, by the way. But for him to come out with another cringe TikTok video, I just don't think it lands. What he should be doing is channeling his 2017 self, where he clearly agrees with President Trump.
I tend to more agree with President Trump than I did with President Obama on Bush on trade. The whole idea for China manipulating their currency, I learned about them when I visited with Macne. I visited Crucible Steel here in Syracuse, and they were telling me back then how their steel products had an unfair advantage because China was manipulating its currency. So I hope he's really tough on China, on both North Korea, and on treating us fairly in terms of trade.
I guess he got his wish because that's exactly what President Trump is doing today. But the only problem is Chuck Schumer has changed, and so has the entire Democratic Party, as you guys well know. And Donald Trump has been the most consistent there's been in politics for many, many years, especially on this issue of tariffs. Now, if you guys want to see another embarrassing reaction to that announcement, just look no further to Jessica on The Five.
So Basson says this was the plan all along. So you were okay then with being made out to be a complete liar because you've been doing interviews on our network, going on the Sunday show, saying absolutely not, that we're not capitulating on this. We're not going back on it. Caroline Levitt calling it fake news as recently as yesterday. Lutnick, he was on with you multiple times, it felt like, or it was the world's longest interview, talking about how this isn't a joke and, you know, we'll be a manufacturing economy, which we don't even want to be. And I'm looking at like how we got to this point, and obviously the market had to do it, the bond market in particular, once Japan started selling them off. And did you know earlier this afternoon that Greek bonds were a safer investment than U.S. 30 years? Can you believe that? The Greeks?
Jessica, you don't even know what you're talking about.
Yes, I do.
You don't even know what a bond is. Now, Judge Jeanine, Jessica keeps on saying that Trump caved. How is this a cave if he got 75 nations to get to the negotiating table and redo their tariffs against the United States?
You want me to answer the question? Okay. Yeah. Here's the thing. China was always the end game. Trump won. He's doing exactly what he said he would do. He said there would be short-term pain for long-term gain.
So Jessica is the poster child for how smug Democrats truly feel about this announcement from Trump. Just think about it for a second. Just 24 hours ago, they were crying about Trump crashing the stock market because that's what they call it. And now they're crying that the stock market has gone up. And she sounds like she is allergic to seeing the bigger picture here, and that just maybe what's happening inside the White House is reality, and what comes out of your mouth just isn't. Now, here's the Commerce Secretary answering those questions that Jessica brought up.
So, Mr. Secretary, tonight you can definitively say this was not a walk back. This was not something that the bond markets were cratering and you were worried about it. No. That this is part of your plan. There's a lot of folks saying there were just mixed messages that really left the markets jittery.
Donald Trump is the best negotiator that there is. He understands how to do these things. And these were crystal clear instructions. No negotiating till 2 days ago. He would be willing to negotiate, but broadly. And then yesterday was, I'll do bespoke. And bespoke, that's what launched it. I mean, every country wanted to come and talk to us. And what are we supposed to do? So Scott and I went in and talked to him about what do we do and how do we do it. And I think this is where we are. So the president made his decision. He truthed it out with Scott and I in the room, just the three of us together. And this is where we are.
And in case there's just so much noise, you have forgotten where we are. Currently, right now, there is a 10% tariff on all trading partners, plus 125% on China at this moment. Now, over the next 90 days, the expectation is that negotiations will take place with a lot of these countries who did not retaliate, and maybe that 10% goes to zero, maybe it goes higher, who knows? But that is where we are right now. Now, here is the president. This is his last statement for the day in regards to these tariffs, but more focus on China and who he truly blames for why we're even in this position to begin with. Listen.
I blame the people sitting behind in this chair, behind this desk, for being stupid, incompetent, or not having courage. This should have been done years ago. This should have been done before Obama, in all fairness. Not only Biden, Obama. It should have been done many years ago. This started with the World Trade Organization, which was owned by China. It was owned and paid for by China. They didn't even have to do things. They considered them a nation that was undeveloped. They said they were a developing nation. Well, we're a developing nation, too, if you think about it. Look at our inner cities. Look at what's happened. I think we're starting from ground zero there, right? So we're a developing nation, too. No, I know it's a lot of people take heat for saying it, but I blame the people sitting at this desk more than I blame China. If China can get away with what they got away with taking hundreds of billions and trillions of dollars right out of our pocket because our people here were stupid, they were stupid people. Maybe corrupt, I don't know. I don't know how you can be that stupid. How do you get to be president and you're stupid? But they certainly weren't courageous. And they allowed this to happen. And with Japan and with many other countries that took advantage of us.
Now, the president definitely makes a point there that either it's incompetence, corruption, or stupidity is really why we're in this position to begin with as it pertains to China. Now, this actually takes us to our next story because we know Democrats they're struggling. I mean, they don't even know how to react to this, as I've stated and I've showed you throughout this video so far. But the one area where they're all in agreement and they're saying the same thing is they want to launch an investigation into insider trading for what happened today. This is all due to an announcement that President Trump made earlier this morning on Truth, telling people it's a great time to buy. He makes his announcement in regards to the tariffs. The stock market shoots up, and now Democrats are asking questions. Here is the guy leading the charge on this investigation.
How concerned are you with this market fluctuation, and are you concerned that there could be members of the White House that are benefiting from it?
Absolutely. I'm writing to the White House to demand who knew in advance that the president was going to once again flip-flop on tariffs, and are people cashing in? There is just all too much opportunity for people in the White House and the administration to be insider trading, and you can't put it past them for a minute. So we're going to try to find out.
There's a good chance they'll just ignore you, though, right? Should there be some other independent investigation into this?
Well, I think Congress should do an investigation into this, but we're going to demand answers from the administration. I think you're right. They're likely to stonewall, particularly if they've been engaged in corrupt insider trading. But they won't be able to hide it for good. I mean, we know who's in the administration. We can look at eventually what people are buying and selling. This will come out.
Yeah, that's pretty rich from someone like Adam Schiff. Okay, we know he's as corrupt as you can be for people who are served in Congress. No question about that. And yes, they will run with an investigation because that's all they can do. They're not going to offer any policies, no alternative solutions. They're not there yet with their maturity level. All they can do is try to impeach President Trump because that's where they want to get to. And so this is just an example of that. Now, he wasn't the only one to bring it up. Take a look at this.
So I have questions about the tariff announcements today. Who benefited and who made money? And this should matter to you too, because this could be an enormous scam. What we know is that about 9:30 today, Trump posts on social media that people should buy. It's a good time to buy. And then 3 hours later, guess what? He announces that there's going to be a 90-day suspension of many of the tariffs. Predictably, the market, which had been crashing, shoots up, and anyone who made investments early today likely made a lot of money. And so the question is, who close to Trump knew that he was going to suspend the tariffs?
Let's just use their logic against them for a second and say everything they're saying is true. Is it that insider trading took place, or is it that this time around you guys weren't a part of it? Right? Because we know the queen of insider trading, also known as Nancy Pelosi, had a long record of profiting from the stock market. But this is the hypocrisy, folks. This is why I called it Democrats are scrambling, because this is what they're focused on. And what's interesting is in this next clip is a current town hall that's going on right now with CNN and Bernie Sanders. And guess what? I guess he got the same talking point memo as well. Take a look.
You talked about concerns about a kleptocracy in the United States. This morning, President Trump posted on social media that it was, quote, a great time to buy stocks. A few hours later, he announced a pause on tariffs, which sent the market skyrocketing. Your colleague, Senator Adam Schiff, says Congress should investigate whether Trump and his inner circle engage in insider trading. Do you agree?
I noticed that, and that's just one of another outrageous things. Imagine, I don't know for a fact, but would I be surprised if there were people who hours before knew exactly what Trump was going to do in rescinding his tariff proposals, understanding that the stock market would soar and you make huge amounts of money? Would I be shocked if we learned about that in the days to come? No, I wouldn't.
Like I stated, they got their talking points. It's very clear the direction they're going to want to take this. They want investigations. They want impeachments. They want a lot of noise because they have no solutions. That's as clear as day. That's what I've learned from Democrats today. And that's why I said that they're scrambling. All right. So in this next story, it's really just entertainment, but it just shows you, again, Democrats are violent and there's a mental crisis happening on the left. And this is also with teachers and professionals who are supposed to be leaders in the community. Speaking of reactions, let's go to this next story. Tim Walz gets booed by a group of veterans because everybody knows he committed stolen valor. This occurred at the Capitol in his great state of Minnesota. Watch this.
Welcome to the Capitol. It's great that you're here. Sir, you're welcome to come. Let me finish. Let me finish. Oh, hey, there's some passion in the...
Yeah, so I loved every second of that clip. It's short, I know. I wish there was more. But guys, this guy committed stolen valor. We talked about it during the election, of course, and I'm going to call it out anytime I see some sweet justice being served in regards to his corruption and his ability to just lie about his military service. Now, here's another big update that just happened moments ago. The House of Representatives have passed a bill that is supposed to stop these rogue district court judges from issuing an injunction that applies nationwide. As we've seen, because this is what Democrats have been doing to try to slow down President Trump's agenda. And as you guys can see, here's the actual vote tally. Republicans, all except two of them, voted yes, and then Democrats, of course, voted no. Now, here's what Jim Jordan had to say about this bill.
I think all this talk we've been doing, you've been talking about it, we got a bill that's going to be on the floor here in a minute or two that I got to go vote for that says these injunctions only apply to the parties in the case in that respective jurisdiction, shouldn't have nationwide application. That's a great bill. All those things we're doing oversight-wise, I think are making a difference.
Yeah, so this is a simple issue, guys, okay? A district court judge should not be issuing a ruling that affects the entire country. That's the bottom line, and definitely handicaps the executive branch. Now, they can apply that injunction for the state that they represent. That makes sense. But for the entire nation, no, sir. I mean, it's just common sense. And furthermore, what's actually a positive, and I'm happy to hear it, is that Congress is actually doing their job. I mean, if you think about all the things they've accomplished this year, we're 4 months in, it's not much, ladies and gentlemen. On one hand, you could probably count the things they've accomplished. So they need to get into high gear. They need to start passing legislation that supports the president's agenda. I mean, that's how I see it. So that takes me to you. How do you see these stories I talked about in this video? What is your reaction to Democrats' reaction to President Trump's announcement earlier today in regards to pausing tariffs for 90 days? Did you see how they're scrambling? They're trying to figure out what they're going to say. And more importantly, what do you think about their threat to investigate insider trading for the White House? I'd love to know what you guys think about that as well. Just put your answers in the comment section below. Now, it's no secret by now, you know that the president paused tariffs for 90 days, 10% tariff across the board, 125% tariff on China. But that's not really the story. The story is how the media was basically duped. Democrats have suffered a brutal loss over this. because it actually backfired, the narrative that they were pushing. So if you missed out on that story and more from earlier today, all you have to do is click on that video because it's coming up right now.